Hey there! So I've got a couple of fancy German cookbooks with recipes by some of the top chefs around here. While browsing one, I found this recipe of a very over-the-top complicated and fancy gratinated zucchini, and I thought we can attempt it together. It just takes like 5.5 hours. Well, 4 hours of that is drying tomatoes. Let's start by taking a look at all the ingredients, and there are plenty. I'll write the exact amounts as usual in the description. Looking left to right and top to bottom. Fresh, large tomatoes. You'll need about 4. Grapeseed oil. Sorry, the bottle is a bit grungy. Some white wine. This is Pinot Blanc. 2 egg yolks. Here, still in the packaging. Some bell peppers or paprika. I ended up using only the yellow one. 2 zucchinis. These are medium sized. If you want to use the big ones, you will have to adjust the ingredients. Also some spring onions. A bunch of parsley. Once again, left to right, salt and pepper. And either fresh chili peppers or dried chili flakes. Breadcrumbs. Fresh or dried marjoram, nutmeg, 2 cloves of garlic, then fresh goat cheese. And since we hadn't enough, we replaced some of the missing amount with cream cheese. And finally some hard goat cheese. What for grating? This is goat gouda. Whew, what a list. Right, now the first thing to do is to dry the tomatoes a bit to enhance their flavor. We need to peel them by cutting an X into the stem part and place them inside a sieve in a heat-safe vessel, like this steel bowl. Then we pour some boiling water from a kettle over them, like this. I poured slowly to give them lots of contact with the hot water. Once submerged, I waited a couple of seconds and you can already see the skin shrinking and peeling away. Then I removed the hot water bowl and emptied it and poured over some cold water. I wasn't sure how cold it had to be, so I added some ice just to be safe. After that, it was super easy to peel them, except that they are quite slippery, which made the next step even more difficult. The seeds had to be removed. I quartered them and simply went in there with my fingers, taking out all the seeds and the locular gel, also making sure to remove any parts of the stem. Then the tomatoes are cubed and placed inside a lasagna form and mixed with sugar, salt, olive oil and pepper. Then they are placed in a preheated oven at 80 degrees Celsius or about 180 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 hours. I tested and found out that you can raise the temperature just a bit and shorten the time. Just don't let the tomatoes roast. Meanwhile, we can do a bit of prep work. My wife cut the garlic into small cubes and the spring onions into small rolls. She then proceeded to finely chop the prezzemolo, come si dice in English, the parsley, and plucked the marjoram and gave that a bit of a chop too. She then halved the zucchinis and used this small ball cutter. Geez, that sounds wrong. This tool, you know. She carved out the inside of the zucchini, leaving about half a centimeter wall. You can also do this with a spoon, but this cutter works really well. Don't toss the zucchini meat away. Instead, chop it up a bit and we'll use it later. Next, she ground the goat gouda. Our tomatoes are ready, and I have to admit, I thought this might not do much for them, you know, flavor-wise. But boy, they taste nice. I removed them and set the lasagna dish aside, since we'll use that later for the zucchinis, so no need to wash it. Next, the recipe said to peel the paprika by placing them in the oven with some oil at 107 degrees Celsius, about 340 degrees Fahrenheit, for 10 minutes. So I did that. Then you'll have to place it in a bag and let it cool down, you know, to steam it a bit. Now this didn't work for me. No dice. I know roasting the paprika does work if you let them steam in a bag, but this approach didn't. Not sure what went wrong. I tried again, but still no luck. So I accepted my defeat and just cut the paprika into small cubes. To be honest, I think it didn't matter in the end. If you know what I did wrong, maybe let me know in the comments down below. Okay, with that all done, it was time to move to the stove and finally prepare the filling. In a pan, heat some olive oil on medium to highish heat before adding the spring onions and frying them. Then add the chilies or flakes and let them flavor the oil a bit. Then add the chopped zucchini meat. Then the lovely tomatoes. Next, my failed paprika. Add some nutmeg, pepper and the parsley and marjoram. Then the fresh goat cheese. And we almost forgot to add the cream cheese. Stir it until it dissolves. Then add the egg yolks and finally the breadcrumbs. You'll have to work a bit fast here so you're not overcooking everything. Then remove from the heat. From this point it's smooth sailing. Preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius or about 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Then place the zucchinis in the lasagna dish and start filling them. Sprinkle over your hard goat cheese and place the dish in a preheated oven. Let it sit in there until the top starts to become nice and crispy. That'll take about 20 to 25 minutes. Right, so here's our totally overcomplicated gratinated zucchini. We had some beetroot and apple salad with that. Was it worth the effort, you might ask? Oh yes, it was. This had to be the best gratinated zucchini I ever had. Very light and flavorful. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe I'll see you next time if you want to hear another tale.